Good afternoon, YouTubers. I'm not an expert, and in this video, we're going to be looking at a Blackburn Tools 9-inch dovetail saw kit. Here it is. Comes with a brass back. It's unfinished, but it has the slot for the blade. Can you see that okay? It has the blade, very thin, very light, and I don't know if you'll be able to see if I can bring it up here close, but they look to me to be very nicely cut teeth. It has very minimal set, should be ready to go, and it comes with two saw nuts made of brass. I don't know if Blackburn makes these himself or if he buys them from somewhere else. Anyway, that's that. I'm going to make a handle for it first, and on the Blackburn website they actually have handle templates. Let's see, I should have one. Oh, here it is. So the handle templates, he's got them different styles. This is an open one for the small saws. He has a closed style one. And he has different dimensions for small, medium, large based on the width of your palm. He's got some instructions there. You got to search around a little, but he has some instructions on how he measures a hand. So you can have some idea how that would match up to what you got. So I got to find a piece of wood. I had a perfect piece of walnut. I know I had it. I measured it the other day. I don't know where I put it. It's like 2 feet long and 6 inches wide. How can I not find it? Driving me crazy. All right, but so I've taken the template, which looks like this to start with, and I've cut it out, and I put some spray glue on it. And here's my wood, and I'm going to try and catch some of this. Better angle. There we go. I'm going to try and catch some of that grain, and I'm going to glue my handle down to avoid that. On the green line right there, I think that ought to do it. Oh, that's not right. Oh, that is right, green. Okay. So let that dry, and then I can start cutting it out. I'm going to leave some marks around it and drill the holes, and then finish the cutting. All right, different bit. All right, with the camera off, I've done some rounding. You can see how it's gotten a bit rounder. This really did not take very long, mostly using the rasp, which has a curved edge, and this file. which is a half round file. So let me see if I can show you what I'm doing. I can't clamp it anywhere really, so I've been using this to prop up, using my vise to prop the wood up. You see how I'm doing that? All right, so it's propped up in the vise, and that way I can get to the spots I want to get to. So then I'll put the clamp over here. That'll hold it well enough. I can get in here with my rasp. Now I also took a Sharpie and followed the lines and then glued it down. The Sharpie marker is actually on the other side. This is the back side of the printout. There's probably a way to reverse it, but that's how I got the the lines for where the bevel should go to, which is of course just a guideline, because you're going to want to make it fit your hand when you do it, right? See, and then this is going to get buffed. I'm going to take the file and get the rest of this. Bevel and round as I go. See how that goes? It goes pretty quick. This cherry isn't, it's hard, but it's not, it's not stone. Excuse me. I got a real head of steam going. I forgot to turn the camera back on. So I've got quite a bit of the left side carved now. And there's the right side so far. It's looking pretty good. I'm not going to go a lot farther before I start figuring out how to do the slot. But I'm going to finish this circle around to here like I did over here. Needs a little more work over there too. So let me show you how I've been doing that. I got the vise propped up so it'll hold everything up for me. And I can get in here with my files. You see that what I'm doing? So I'm just working it. Now what I'm doing, based on some other videos I've watched, is I'm trying to take it, pardon my sniffles, it's raining out. I'm trying to take it about halfway to the line at a 45 and then round and blend everything in. Not sure if that's quite going to create the right curve that I want, but so far it's looking okay. Basically, you just got to eyeball it, round it off. And then try and do it the same way on both sides so it looks good. This cherry does seem to respond to the file really well. And the file's hardly, it doesn't really care what it's up against, does it? But it's not the fastest. Oh, no, I'm screwing it up. There's my first screw up. I think I can hide that. You see where I cut in there too close? See that chunk? It'll disappear with a little sandpaper and it'll be fine. All right, I'm going to take a break, think about how I want to get a good centered straight cut in that face right in the middle to hold the blade. It's time to start cutting the slot for the blade in the wood. And you can see there's I made some lines with a marking gauge. But a trick I saw from a company called Thousand Oaks Tool Works, who's a small seller who makes saws and things. Man sells them. He didn't really seem to sell them on his site. He said contact him, see what it's got. Anyway, this was this tutorial on his website, was to say to cut the kerf, if you have another saw, is to put the blade on a shim that's the right width, so that, look, right here on my workbench, I've got my saw, and I took a piece of the scrap from when I made the saw. So here's a piece, and I will drag it on the saw here, and you can see where it put that slot, right? And I'm looking at that with measuring that with my tape measure, and I think that's in the center well enough. I'm going to go ahead and do it the other direction, and okay, it's not perfect, but it's pretty close. It's close enough for my eyeball. I'm happy. So if it had to be thicker on one side, which side would I choose? So this, let's see, where is that line going to go to? I better mark this. Find my pencil. It's always hiding. So I want to go cut to here. Of course, over to here. But I just need to mark it with this. Get it started. On the right side. Oh, I flipped it over, didn't I? Oh, that's pretty well centered. I'm going to go with it. And so once I get that deep enough, it's going to guide the saw, and I won't need to. All right, we're going to come around here. Now we're just going to freehand it and maybe ruin this. Part of the fun. You can't see anything. I'm terrible at aiming. Okay, here we go. I'm really getting tired of this vise. It racks so bad. Put a spacer in there. Okay, I think that's going to be okay. I think once that's sanded up and oiled up, that slot's going to be all right. So now I got to mark where the saw blade or the saw back is going to fit. So I haven't done any shaping of the blade yet, but I'm just going to put it in the thing, line that up, and I'm going to mark it with my marking knife. Down there and down here. It's a little, maybe a little wide there. Anyway, then I'm going to have to chisel that out down to whatever depth I want, which I will check about the pattern and see what it says. Okay, my 1/4 inch chisel is really wider than that, so I have an 1/8 inch. I'm lucky. So I'm going to pare down with a wider chisel to make the cuts, and then clean it out with this until I get down to a good depth. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to turn the camera off because it's hard enough to do. Thinking about where my hands are is too much. So I'll be back in a few. All right. So I did quite a bit of work off camera because it's easier. You see, I have grooved out the top to fit the blade in, and I have trimmed the blade. I'll take it out in a second and show you, but I want to show you my mistakes first. So I had to cut. I used tin snips. This is thin enough I could cut it with tin snips without bending it. Although you see I have my little anvil out and my sheet metal hammer so that I could flatten it. So on this side, this wood was really brittle, and I chunked a big chunk out of it. So I'll have to shape some wood scraps and glue them in there after I get done, because I don't want to start all over. All right, when we left off, I was doing some rounding. And as you can see, gotten along pretty far, and then I was working on putting the groove in for the saw back. Couple of things. Now this, I think this is the large size. My printer made it a little smaller than scale, but it came out pretty good size-wise for my hand. I think that fits okay. It feels pretty good, except I feel like behind my 2 fingers here, it's almost a little hollow. Like It's not filling this gap up enough. That combined with, whoopsie, I took a chunk out of it. This wood that I cut it out of a piece of cherry right near a knot. And the wood in some spots is really hard. That piece was brittle. And it actually, I was coming straight down with the chisel against that edge, and a whole big piece just broke out. So need to work on that a little bit. I didn't expect that. I got some other ideas how to make that slot a little better. So what I'm going to do is start over. I know it's a pretty non-event for this video, because I'm going to publish this one. I'm going to make multiple parts for this. I think they get too long if I try and show you everything. So I have a piece of walnut that I'm going to try. Now this walnut is just slightly thinner, but still almost an inch, a little less. This one's 15/16 easily, and this one maybe 7/8. It's a little more than 7/8, smidge over. And so when I draw it, I'm going to fill that in a little more. I'm going to leave a little more wood in there for my fingers to grab onto, because I think, yeah, they're just not kind of like, it's kind of too skinny through here. I'd rather have it kind of custom fit my hand while I'm in there. Why not? So that's where I got with this one. I'm going to print up another pattern. I'm going to glue it on here and cut it out. This is a very plain piece of walnut. It has that. That's the only grain in it. So it's not going to be the most exotic looking handle, but I think it'll be fine. It'll look nice. It'll be just simple. And walnut's real nice to work with. So look for that in the next video. Hopefully I'll have that up before the end of the week. Get a little farther. We'll catch you later.